Alright, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the build of my bat van. So much has happened since the last time you saw me, and I'll show you around here in a minute. But where we left off is we still had a couple of pieces left on the front, on the side panels put in, so we got that done and more. So if you want to see what we did, stick around. Alright, so the last time that you saw the van, we still had these two pieces left to put on. Obviously, they are now cut and installed, and they fit nice and snug around the top edge and against this front pillar right here. So we've got that done. What else did we get done? Well, after we installed that, I kind of revamped and rethought the ceiling. And what I had to do in order for everything to run and lay flat is there are two pillars here that seem to be a little bit longer or higher or lower than the rest of the pillars. So what I ended up doing is removing this beam right here, and I removed this one here, and I actually trimmed that one down to about ½ an inch, and then reinstalled that, left this one out, and for these longitudinals I went ahead and notched these out so they fit around this beam. And also I removed this one here in front of the fan, and then I went ahead and installed braces down the center, and that seemed to work so where everything lays nice and flat, so when the shelving goes up it'll be nice and flat. Before, it had a dip right here and a dip back here, and it was really wavy. Felt like I was on a boat, there was so much wave. Alright, so once I done that, then I installed wire ties along this top edge up here and ran all my wiring for my lights. So I have about 5 sets of lights. I'm going to have 2 up here in the front, 2 more here in the front, 2 here in the middle, 2 here on the back, and 2 more here in the back. And then I also tied in the fan on the front, or on the back and on the front. Ran all my wiring along the side, which will be hidden under the panel that goes right here, which is like this side. And then we went and ran that behind this section here all the way down here. And when we remove this panel, we'll punch a hole right here, feed the wires behind, and they'll come out and they'll look a lot better. Everything will be in a wire loom. So on this side will be the electrical. So that worked out good, and pretty happy with that. Then we started with the front section. I cut my rolls of carpet here, which I have a nice large roll of carpet. Cut everything to fit. Then I took it out, and then I glued it up and put everything in place. So obviously cut out for my lights and my fan. The back section here looks fairly nice. Put it up in place, and it looks like it's going to work. I'm going to have to take and trim just a little bit off the edges here because once it was carpeted, it made it a little bit wider. So where am I at right now? Alright, so the next step is I do have this ceiling part here. I have the material cut, and we're going to set that on the table and get ready to glue that down. And then we're going to remove the side panels here. Once these back and front sections are carpeted, then we're going to go ahead and install those. and then we'll trim down the side pieces. We'll get those carpeted, put in place. I may or may not, once I install these two, install the lights. That's probably what I'm going to do, because I want to get everything tested out and make sure everything works good, which I know they are. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So let's take this one section that I've got cut and the material cut. We'll go ahead and get it all glued up, and we'll get everything put in place. So we're about ready to put this first piece on. We're going to put the back piece on first, and so I'll get the ceiling up in place. I've added these little blocks here that I can turn just to hold things until I get all the wires pulled down. Then we'll start tacking it on. Hopefully everything fits fine, and yeah, we'll get it installed. Alright, so to attach this roof, we're going to use a combination of some staples and screws. We're going to put staples along the edges, which will be concealed by the cabinet, to cover also the seam. And then through the center we'll have 3 or 4 screws holding that up. I would use staples, but I think over time, bouncing on some roads, those staples might pull out. So we're just going to go ahead and staple the edges. I've got 4 screws around the fan hole. And then we'll get some screws and we'll hold everything else up. So let's go ahead and tack this down. Alright, so we will get some screws here in the center, hold that in, and that will be nice and tight. And I like that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the front section on, and then we'll worry about the screws. The screws I have are silver, so I'm going to get me some flat black paint, spray those, we'll get those fastened in, and then we can, I don't know if I'll do the sides yet or install the lights, but we'll move on from there. Alright, let's get the front on. good. Alright, let's staple those up. Alright, I think that's going to look pretty nice. And once we get our fasteners up here, that will hold that center up. Up in the front here, we're just flush with the front of our storage area. So that gives it a nice clean look. I do like that. Alright, not too much trouble. And gives it that look I'm looking for. So we still have these pieces here that we need to trim and get carpeted. We can get those installed and then install our lights. So let's get some trimming going, some carpet going, some lights going. Let's just get going. Alright, I changed my mind. We're going to put the lights in first.
For Pete's sakes, make up your mind.
So I have all my puck lights. Purchased from Amazon. Same ones I used in my teardrop trailer. And got the connectors on the end, so we're just going to go ahead and start plugging things in. Positive to positive, negative to negative. Push them in and take a look at it when it's all done. Let's do it. Looking good. Let's get the back section done. Alright, so this is where I'm at. I've got all my lights in and I think it looks pretty good. So I've numbered my lights 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first two will be on a switch. The ones over the bed will be on a switch, and I don't know yet if I want these 3 sets here on one switch or I'll do a switch for each one. And because I like switches, I will probably do switches for each one. Alright, so we've got that finished, and then over here on this back side where the wires come through the pillar, I went ahead and put a U-trim around here on both sides. That way any wires that are laying in here don't get chafed on the metal. So that's protected. Everything's wire tied up. Looks pretty neat. And now we're getting ready to install our last panels here on this side. Then we'll go ahead and get things carpeted and put on this side. Then we will, well, before I do that, I will probably fit the rings around the fan because I want to see what it looks like finished. Alright, let's get these panels up. Alright, so our ceiling is coming right along and looking pretty nice. Nice and even across the front here. Seems butt nice and tight. Yeah, I'm liking that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the rings for our fan, and we'll get those installed. So to determine how far down I need to cut my trim ring, I set my square at 3 inches depth, put it in here, and 3 inches is going to give me plenty of clearance. It goes up in there probably about an inch, so I could get away with 2.5, but we're going to do 3 inches. So we'll go ahead and mark our pieces for 3 inches and from the bottom up, and then we'll cut that. We'll get those in there and fastened in place. Methinks it looks good. Alright, my ceiling is done. Got the lights installed, got my fans connected and looking good. And yes, I tested everything out. Everything works pretty good. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So tonight when the sun goes down, we'll turn the lights on and take a look at it when it gets dark. Probably one thing in this thing after this was done that I don't like. Let me show it to you. So after getting everything carpeted and put in place, I have this one section here that just, the color just seems off from the rest, and I know why. So when I put the ceiling up, if I look at it from this direction, it's a lighter color and everything else is dark. If I look at it on this side, this is a lighter color and this is dark. Had the stupid thing turned around backwards. But fortunately, it's all going to be covered by cabinetry and we won't see it, but I know it's there. And it's probably going to bug me like forever.
Forever.
Alright, before we call it a night, I thought we'd just turn some lights on, see what it looks like out here. It's pretty dark inside the van. It's hard to tell because everything seems to be lit up in the camera, but it's pretty dark back there. And I've got all my test stuff set up, so I'll give you a shot of that and then we'll touch the switch and boom, see if we got lights. Alright, got my 20-year-old battery here. I don't even know why I still have this thing. Battery charger on here, and then got my test leads connected to all my wiring except for my fans. I didn't want to turn the fans on because then they would close and then I'd have to open everything up, and yeah. Anyway, so let's go ahead and smack a wire on here and let's see if we got lights. Alright. I think it's going to be nice. So I'm going to clip this negative on here and with any luck, it gets bright. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Let there be light. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So all them bad boys are lit up. Seems brighter on camera, but it's got a kind of a yellowish glow. It's not that bright white light, which, you know, come on, focus. Focus. Alright. Yeah, I'm liking that. Looks pretty nice. And then along the shelves on each side, we'll also have some lights under those. Be plenty of light in here, I think. But yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Lights everything up really nice. Cool. Alright, so that's the after and before. Yep, I think it's a success. Alright, well, thanks for checking out this video. And next, we still have the sides to get carpeted, and a couple little things that I want to tweak a little bit, but other than that, those are the last things that we need to get installed before we can start working on the bed, cabinetry, cabinets, sink, all that good stuff. So we're getting closer. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay tuned.